Joseph, a question I've always had, right? It's a two-part question.
Oh.
And it deals with terrorism, like terrorist attacks, right? You're a police officer, you're off duty, sitting at home, there's a terrorist attack, or even a natural disaster, hurricane rolls in, whatever, flooding, mass chaos, mayhem, all that. What is your opinion about officers' like obligation to, say, the department, or their obligation to the city to versus protecting their own family? I guess what I'm trying to figure out is which obligation is more important, the one that you have to your family or the one that you have to the city when you're confronted by a terrorist event or a very large natural disaster. So, for example, Hurricane Katrina rolled through New Orleans, and a large number of New Orleans police officers got into their New Orleans Police Department vehicle and drove to Houston.
I met a couple of them.
Yeah. I mean, I saw like a lot of NOPD cars on Houston streets. Or let's say 9/11, 2001, you're in New York and you see planes crashing into the World Trade Center. You know that the country's going to war, it's under attack. And in that incident, I recall there were multiple officers who were like even on vacation who just, packed up their stuff, got on a plane got in their car, however they could get back to New York to, go to work.
Same here in Houston. A lot of people went into work.
Right. So, if you're off duty, when do you think an officer would have the obligation to drop everything they're doing and go into work, whether they've been called or not?
Oh man, I'm gonna get it for this answer, I guess. When we first got on, and I didn't have any family here, didn't have anything, I'd go in, fight crime, crush crime, suppress evil. Okay, now it depends on what was happening. If it's a terrorist attack and there's little pockets of shooters popping up, I can do something about that. Okay, I'm going to go in. People are being shot and hurt. Or you can go in and you can take action on that. If it's a dirty bomb,
yeah,
okay, or even a hurricane, what am I going to do? Become a victim and get swept away in the water or contaminated? I don't know. Depends on how bad it is, and if your family is important. And the thing of it is, your wife, your kids, they're going to be there when the department's long gone. Okay, when the department has forgotten about you, and you've quit and retired and they've forgotten about you the day after you walk out the door. Okay, they don't care about you anymore. But your family is more important to me. Okay, if you have family, take care of your family. To me, okay. Does your family live in the beat where the stuff is going on? I might go then. Okay. Right. But it would be hard pressed from the stuff I've seen and the stuff I've responded to, being an SRG special response group and being in special operations and sent different places to sit on a traffic, post or watch an intersection or look at high water. That was my favorite, looking at there's high water right there. Look at it. Sure enough. Okay. But you had to be in there. You had to come. You had to show up. And the reason they wanted you to show up is so they could get more money for every police officer that was there.
Right. Because you get FEMA, right?
Yeah, you get FEMA money. That's all they gave a crap about. And during Harvey, they were sending guys out, and some people were sitting there, say at the police academy, for 2 weeks, not doing anything, okay, except because it's a hurricane shelter. And some people were out there put in dump trucks, police officers in dump trucks driving around in high water, rescuing people, okay. I'm all for rescuing people, okay, but there's a time and a place when the scene has settled down and there's no more danger to the people who are out there than there is to you. Don't send police officers out in high water to rescue people. You don't have the training for it. There are officers. I know of one police officer that had to quit because of flesh-eating bacteria that got on her hand during Harvey. Okay. And they didn't care. Acevedo, he was constantly texting. We've done this many rescues. It's done this, 3,000 rescues. Well, anybody who, said, here, get out of the water, that was a rescue, and he had the Marine unit go and pick him up to go to another place instead of rescuing people. And so we could get a photo op, so I don't know. I would have a hard time knowing what I know now. If the city, if the leaders are going to make good decisions that has to do with helping the public during with Mayor White, and I videoed a bunch of it, and they told me to erase the video during I think it was Katrina, I think, and I wanted to make a documentary called "Documenting the Aftermath," and he was livid and trying to get into a truck and drive a truck that was driven by some FEMA volunteer from Georgia because he wanted to go, I can drive this truck and we'll go start distributing supplies. And they tried to explain to him this thing, META, which is mission equipment training ability, something that you learn about doing rescues, mission, what's the mission, what's your equipment, what's your training, and what's your ability. Well, one of the things you learn is for relief is you don't go into a room of 100 hungry people with 100 with cheeseburgers. Okay. You go in with 200 cheeseburgers, lest you die. Okay. And they were waiting for the rest of these trucks to get there. And Mayor White was making a big spectacle trying to get into the truck. And of course, we're all like, oh, we can't do anything. There's a Georgia State trooper. She grabbed him and pulled him back. Said, get out of the truck, idiot. And when they make decisions like that, you're like, okay, we had a assistant chief that wanted us to go round up the homeless and put them in jail for safekeeping.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
During one of the hurricanes.
Safekeeping the homeless.
Yeah, arrest them for safekeeping, put them in jail.
Like their property room.
Yeah, exactly. You're under arrest for safekeeping. Like you do. That's what you do with property.
She literally said that.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And the captain who was there, I won't say who it is, but he was like, well, we can't do that, Vicky. And she's like, well, why not? She goes, because it's illegal. And she had no clue.
Yeah.
She was clueless. She had no clue. She wanted us to arrest homeless people and put them in jail for safekeeping. So you know what? It would depend on what was going on and how serious it was and what I thought I could do.
Okay. So like, for example, you're on duty. Now, in a different scenario, you're on duty. Okay. And,
Lord.
You see there's something.
You're just going to come up with a scenario till I get in trouble, aren't you? Okay. Okay, I'm on duty.
And there's an active war occurs, I don't know. There's a mushroom cloud on the horizon. Mm-hmm. What do you do? I mean, when would it be enough for you to say, okay, I'm leaving. I'm going home to take care of my family?
Well, exactly the same thing. I'm on duty, just came on, and I'm working overtime. Okay. The mushroom cloud goes up. I have to think to myself, or there's a terrorist attack, or here comes a hurricane. What am I going to do? Am I going to be able to stem the tide? Am I going to be able to take action and make a difference for the city of Houston in my block? Or should I go home and take care of my family? If it's something that I can do, if it's shooting, we can deal with that. We have guns and vests. If it's high water, what am I going to do? Go get my kayaks?
It's just it's a brain exercise I've engaged in since September 11th, 2001 is when is the act of terrorism or when is the natural disaster big enough to morally justify, really, because that's what it is. An officer saying, you know what, I'm going to leave and take care of my family now. I'm not going to stay here.
Well, one thing that would help if the Houston Police Department, you had love for it. If they made it and you loved working there and they took good care of you and they made good decisions and they didn't prosecute you or persecute you for doing your job, you might go, you know what? They are a really good organization. I'm going to go help. When they don't, you got to think about it. When we were trying to call people in one time, we were looking on the the phone records, and there was about 2% of the people had a phone number on the record. Now, everybody's going like, "Shut up!" Okay, but they were trying to call people in. About 2% of the people had a phone on the records that you could get a hold of them.
Oh, really?
For a reason.
Most everyone else went to straight to voicemail,
or it was a landline, with no phone on it, or something. And the thing of it is, used to I'd have said, who can blame him? Like the guy with the "let your tree grow." What? Let your tree grow. That's my tree. Watch it grow. And I'm thinking, you hear stuff like that, and you're like, wow, what a piece of garbage you are. You're not doing your job. And then later on,
when you're fired,
exactly. And I was never fired, but I mean, when you're in trouble, exactly. Yeah. You learn. Wow. It's like my father. I didn't realize what an idiot he was. And when I was 16, then I learned when I was 21, I was amazed how much he'd learned in 5 years. Being a rookie, I probably would have, and I would have, go in, Mr. Rules used to call me. Yeah. And now who knows?
Well, you've got 23 years to reflect back on whether or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're right as far as your family versus the department. The department doesn't care about you. The department doesn't give a damn about you.
No.
Whereas you're everything for your family.
Mm-hmm. And the woman who had to retire because her hand was hurt.
Yeah.
Do you think they apology, a medal, anything? No, not a thing. They do not care. So if you shoot the wrong person, if you cuss the wrong person, they're gonna hammer you. Much less if you don't show up to a natural disaster. Harold Hertz fired several people for it during Katrina. They all got their jobs back. I know one of them specifically. In the ocean.
But yeah, so I guess that's just something I've always wondered about. Is there a line for officers that kind of migrates to one way of thinking? Is there a point where officers just walk away from the department and say, I can't help you, I'm going to go help my family?
Certainly. There's got to be like the officers in Arizona who let the guy drown. And I know people like one of my favorite internet guys, Bill Whittle, was saying, you should always do that. If I were there, I would have gone in after the guy. Well, there's a reason why police officers don't jump in lakes and save people. It's because they will die. Jumping in lakes, something that don't have to do with your training, is very dangerous. Water, rescue, swift water, high water, all these things, they make a difference. And if you can make a difference, if you go there and you say, what can I do? Am I a doctor? Am I a medic? Do I know how to rescue people off high water or pick up emergency power lines? No, I don't know how to do any of that. Okay. So what am I going to do that's going to help me? I'm going to have to think about it before I go in. It's just like if I'm going to respond off duty or respond to you'd have to shoot directly at me now to get me to do something. I mean, at me. I might try to be a good witness, but it's just not worth it. Nobody's going to have your side, and the police department's not going to have your side. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're, if you're watching this video and you can do it anonymously, we appreciate that. What your, point of view is, where would you draw the line?
Tell us in the comments.
A Cat 5 hurricane is rolling through Houston. It's going to flood everything. And, what are you going to do as a police officer in that situation? I was here for Tropical Storm Allison, and of course I had no family. I wasn't married. I was single, right? And my family, one of my parents and brothers and whatever lived in Katy, Texas. So,
they were high and dry.
Yeah, they were okay.
I remember that. I remember you got an award, didn't you? Get a
life-saving award.
Life-saving, yeah. I mean, for meritorious service and all that. And it was.
Yeah.
It was. And I salute you for it. Any police officer who runs into a burning building and pulls somebody out, I say, good job, dumbass.
But now
but you were a dumbass for going in there, but you deserve a medal.
But when you get married and have kids, it completely changes your priorities. You know what I mean? Because that's all you care about are your kids. And, we were doing shit that could have gotten us killed.
Yeah.
The whole, swiftwater rescue thing we were doing. I don't think I would, now that I'm now that I have 2 small kids, I would seriously reconsider what I did that night. And so, you know, I'm curious, like what each individual officer, how they perceive their duty to the department versus their duty to their family, and how they, you know, kind of weigh the two against each other in a terrorist event or a natural disaster. And it's just something I've been wrestling with for, I don't know, 20 years now, that I've been curious about. And no real study has ever been conducted. I don't think the department would ever conduct a study.
No, they better not.
So
on SurveyMonkey, maybe.
But if anyone watching this video cares to comment, we would love to hear what you have to say below. That's really what this video is about, is I want to hear from you. Tell me what you think. Tell me where you draw the line. And, you know, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.